A study found that the research funded by the soft drinks industry have different results from research funded by other sources and went on to suggest that there may have been biased by the research itself. The whole point of the scientific methods is to ensure the research results are not influenced by the source of funding.
A study found that research funded by the soft drink industry have different results from research funded by other sources, and went on to suggest that they may have been biased by the research itself. The whole point of the scientific method is to ensure that research results are not influenced by the source of funding.
Biased, bias क्या था? Biased, biased.
Oh boy, recording नहीं हो?
हाँ जी सर, थोड़ी आवाज़ ना दूर देशों तक पहुँचाई जाए, तानू रातों रात हिट किया जाए। ਜਿਹੜੇ खुद अपने आप च रहते हैं, एक्सट्रोवर्ट ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਘੁਲਣਸਾਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੇ। As introverts are thinking, they reach back long-term memory to locate information. An introvert will often compare old and new experiences when making a decision, which slows the processing down but leads to carefully thought out decisions. This means that introverts active dialogue with themselves and usually walk around the house.
As introverts are thinking, they reach back into long-term memory to locate information. An introvert will often compare old and new experiences when making decisions, which slows the processing down but leads to carefully thought out decisions. This means that introverts have an active dialogue with themselves and usually walk around with many thoughts in their minds.
As introverts are thinking, they reach back into long-term memory to locate information. An introvert will often compare old and new experience when making a decision, which slow the processing down but leads to carefully thought decisions. This means that introverts have an active dialogue with themselves and usually walk around with any thoughts in their minds.
1861, Matthew Brady, a well-known portrait photographer, approached President Lincoln requesting permission to move freely about the country photographing the Civil War. Lincoln granted him permission to travel anywhere with the Union armies, and his record of this conflict brought home to millions of the horrors of war.
In 1861, Matthew Brady, a well-known portrait photographer, approached President Lincoln requesting permission to move freely about the country photographing the Civil War. Lincoln granted him permission to travel anywhere with the Union armies, and his record of this conflict brought home to millions the horrors of the war.
क्यों डर गया थी? क्या हॉरर क्या? हाँ जी सर, केड़ा करें? वेस्टर्न, ईस्टर्न, southerners, southerners किड़े होगी? ईस्टर्न, वेस्टर्न, सदर्नर, एक नॉर्दर्न। हाँ जी, सदर्नर्स हाँ जी।
The Southerners did not accept Lincoln as a president because of certain reasons. Based on historical grounds, the Southerners wished to protect their rights in their government and become more independent from the North. They considered president elections to be unfair. Moreover, they thought that their own rights will be ignored and limited. All this caused the separation of the southern states and marked the beginning of the Civil War.
इतने में 10 सुने, बाकी ठीक से। हाँ जी, गुड मॉर्निंग सर, सुनाओ। Southerners,
The Southerners did not accept Lincoln as a president because of certain reasons. Based on historical grounds, Southerners wished to protect the rights in the government and become more independent from the law. They considered president elections to be unfair. Moreover, they thought that their own rights will be ignored and limited. All this cultural separation of the southern states and marked the
Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. Previous research has offered circumstantial evidence that Ganymede circumstantial या tangential कुछ चक्कर नहीं substantial Ganymede the largest moon in the solar system contains more water than all of the Earth's oceans. However, temperatures there are so cold that water on the surface is frozen solid. Ganymede's ocean would reside roughly 100 miles below the crust before the water vapor would not represent the previous research.
Frozen solid,
Frozen
solid.
जी सुनाओ जी.
Previous research has offered circumstantial evidence that Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, contains more water than all of Earth's oceans. However, temperatures there are so cold that water on the surface frozen solid. Ganymede's ocean would reside roughly 100 miles below the crust. Therefore, the water vapor would not represent the evaporation of this ocean.
Ocean. की बताओ कि मैं 10 तारीख थे Ganymede लाइन तो दसेगा कि हम Ganymede made हाँ
Previous research has offered circumstantial evidence that Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, contains more water than all of Earth's oceans. However, temperatures there are so cold that water on the surface is frozen solid. Ganymede's oceans would reside roughly 100 miles below the crust. Therefore, the water vapor would not represent the evaporation of this ocean.
ठीक है हाँ जी.
Previous research has offered circumstantial evidence that Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, contains more water than all of Earth's oceans. However, temperatures there are so cold that water on the surface is frozen solid. Ganymede's ocean would reside roughly 100 miles below the crust. Therefore, the water vapor would not represent the
evaporation
on this ocean.
Ocean नहीं कहना ocean. अपन को आदत होती है हर एक अक्षर पढ़ना होता है अपन ocean कहना. Ubiquitous. इन्हें उधर जाऊँगा fill in the blanks of listening तो spelling याद रखें.
ये सारे में न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर
नहीं और कल्ला ubiquitous आंसर आउगा. Neurotransmitter. Dopamine. ज़्यादा अदक नहीं लाऊंगा. Dopamine. Cognitive processing. Cognitive. Deterministic signals. Deterministic signals.
A ubiquitous neurotransmitter that carries a signal between brain cells. Dopamine, amongst its many functions, is involved in multiple aspects of cognitive processing. The chemical messenger has been extensively studied from the perspective of the external cues or deterministic signals.
सही है हाँ जी.
A ubiquitous neurotransmitter that carries signals between brain cells, dopamine, among its many functions, is involved in multiple aspects of cognitive processing. The chemical messenger has been extensively studied from the perspective of external cues or deterministic signals.
ठीक है हाँ जी
A ubiquitous neurotransmitter that carries signal between brain cells, dopamine, among its many functions, is involved in multiple aspects of cognitive processing. The chemical messenger has been extensively studied from the perspective of external cues of deterministic signals.
deterministic एक शायद इसके अंदर ने ना TER नहीं लाया इसका शायद ट्रांसमीटर over time split would have appeared in vast populations. He says those words had that feared humans that so this would have facilitated I think the domestication process at which humans deliberately took was as pets. Hanji, domestication. But the domestication process, France says, may have happened more than once. First in the West in Europe and again in the Far East in Asia.
Over a time, split would have appeared in warped populations. We say those warps that feared humans and those that didn't. So this would have facilitated. I think the domestication process at which point humans deliberately took warps as pets. But that domestication process, friends say, may have happened more than once. First in the West, in Europe, and again in the Far East in Asia.
Over time, a split would have appeared in large populations. He says those wolves feared humans and those that didn't. So this would have facilitated, I think, the domestication process at which point humans deliberately took wolves as pets. But that domestication process, France says, may have happened more than once. First in the West in Europe and again in the Far East in Asia.
ठीक है feared कुछ नहीं करो शुरू कितने जी फ्रेंड्स टी तो बोल रहे हैं फ्रेंड्स
Over time, a split would have appeared in more populations. He says those wolves that feared humans and those that didn't. So this would have facilitated, I think, the domestication process at which point human deliberately took wolves as pets. But that domestication process, France says, may have happened more than once. First in the West, in Europe, and again in the Far East in Asia.
ठीक है बस अड़कना घट कर दो नंबर अपने रेडी है नहीं वो है ही औखे वाले है टेस्ट
I never delivered. Okay जी सर तुमने औखा टेस्ट कर दिया
नहीं औखे लगे इन्हें डराउन वास्ते लाया था ना कि भाई इन्हें पता लग जाए कि सौखी चीज नहीं है कि पीटी नहीं सौखी कितने कितना अक्षर बच रहा इन ऑर्डर लाइन दस दो सर अच्छा फ्यूरी फोर्स थोड़ा जा ई रहता फ्यूरी फोर्स swam with the resident alligator. Was study graduate student planted fake alligators. The birds seem to prefer to build nests close to them where there is a water, so there are alligators. So it's sort of colonies, mode of protection, nests, mode.
Nell says that in order to seek protection from their fury force, Birds actually prefer to build their nests in flocks of swarmed with the residents alligator. In fact, in one study, a graduate student planted fake alligators. The birds seem to prefer to build nests close to them where there's a water source, there are alligators. So it's a sort of this mode of protection around these colonies.
ठीक है हाँ जी
Nell says that in order to seek protection from their fury forces, birds actually prefer to build her nests in plots of swamp with the resident alligator. In fact, in one study, a graduate student planted fake alligators. The birds seem to prefer to build nests close to them, where there's water source. There are alligators, so it's sort of this mode of protection around this colonies.
फ्यूरी फोर्स ते कॉलोनीज एक करोड़ आ गई ए
How resource कहता थी
आगे
हाँ in nests
नहीं
nests
हाँ ठीक है हाँ जी
Nell says that in order to seek protection from their fury force, birds actually prefer to build their nests in plot of swamp there with a resident alligator. In fact, in one study, a graduate student
planted
fake alligators. The birds seemed to prefer to build nests close to them. Where there is water source, there are alligators, so it's short of this mode of protection around these colonies.
बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट की
वो पहला बड़े में मेरा नेस्ट सड़िया नहीं सी
जो 10 लग गए History is selective, but history book tell us about the past is not everything will happen. But what is students are selective, they cannot put in everything. Good choices have to be made. Choices must similarly be made about which aspects of the past should be found or formally taught to the next generation. Shape of school history lessons. These novels.
History is selective. What history books tell us about the past is not everything that happened. But what historians have selected, they cannot put in everything. Choices have to be made. Choices must similarly be made about which aspects of the past should be formally taught to the next generation in the shape of the school history lessons.
Everything that happened, but what historians have selected, they cannot put in everything. Choices have to be made. Choices must similarly be made about which aspects of the past should be formally taught of the next generation in the shape of school history lessons.
ठीक है कितने इकोनॉमिक इकोनॉमीज
So second line will be a more
severe
then
recession
An economic depression is a period of sustained long-term downturn in the economic activity in one or more economies. It is a more severe than a recession, which is a slowdown in economic activity over the course of a normal business cycle. Economic depressions are characterized by their length and by abnormally large increase in unemployment rate.
And economic depression is a period of sustained long-term downturn in economic activity in one or more economies. It is more severe than the recessions, which is the slowdown in economic activity over the course of a normal business cycle. Economic depressions are characterized by their length and by abnormal large increases in unemployment rate.
characterized
Abnormally.
LY रह गया सी हाँ जी
And economic depression is a period of sustained long-term downturn in economic activity in one or more economies. It is more severe than a recession, which is a slowdown in economic activity over the course of a normal business cycle. Economic depressions are characterized by their length and by abnormally large increase in unemployment rate. मुझे पता है
इकोनॉमीज ते सर्व हाँ है कि स्फीयर तो पढ़ लेंगे सारे याद लगते हैं ना पढ़ने तो सही है हाँ सुनना
downturn in the economic activity in one or
थोड़ी नहीं नेक्स्ट तुम बोल के देख लो अब टाइम शुरू हो गया ਇਹਦੇ ਅਕੋਰਡਿੰਗ बोल दो ठीक है जसविंदर तुम बोल दी As a child you might dream one day becoming astronaut किथे
choice is ask it
belly vital देखिए टाइम शुरू हुआ है पहले नहीं चल गई ऐ ਹੁੰਦਾ एग्जाम का नहीं 13 सेकंड पे जे पढ़ना आगे जा बड़ा देखा नहीं होना
As a child, you might dream one day of becoming an astronaut and the next day of becoming a ballet dancer. The possibilities are endless. Eventually, the wealth of choice is whittled down by external circumstances and internal interests. Similarly, precursor cells in early embryos make a series of stepwise decisions governed by external forces and internal factors to generate the diverse array of cell types present in adult organisms.
इंटरेस्ट्स नहीं कहना इंटरेस्ट्स प्रीकर्सर सुनाओ नहीं एक कुड़ी दी सुंदर आवाज सुन ली
As a child, you might dream one day of becoming an astronaut and the next day of becoming a ballet dancer. The possibilities are endless. Eventually, the wealth of choice is whittled down by external circumstances and internal interests. Similarly, precursor cells in early embryos make a series of stepwise decisions governed by external forces and internal factors to generate the diverse array of cell types present in
चेंज हो गया ना पहले इधर सी
केड़े
फोर्थ लाइन च अर्ली
एम्ब्रियोस ते प्रीकर्सर वाइटल्ड ते कक्कर हो गई बेले कर्सर पी बोलते रहे प्रीकर्सर एम्ब्रियोस हाँ जी embryos.
As a child, you might dream one day of becoming an astronaut and the next day of becoming a ballet dancer. The possibilities are endless. Eventually, this wealth of choice is whittled down by external circumstances and internal interests. Similarly, precursor cells in early embryos make a series of stepwise decisions governed by external forces and internal factors to generate the diverse array of cell types of present in adult organisms.
इनमें गलत बोल रहे थे नहीं की लिखे हैं जसविंदर ने पहले कुछ और सी अरे ऐसा कुछ हाँ जी
As a child, you might dream one day of becoming an astronaut and the next day of becoming a ballet dancer. The possibilities are endless. Eventually, this wealth of choice is whittled down by external circumstances and internal interests. Similarly, precursor cells in early embryos make a series of stepwise decisions governed by external forces and internal factors to generate the diverse array of cell types present in adult organisms. मैं नहीं बोल सकती
चल जितना ठीक लगा बोल किधर गया अक्षर टेक्टोनिक वोल्केनिक ग्लेशियर फ्लूवियल ओशनिक एटमॉस्फेयर पैलियोसिस्मोलॉजी की देख ले हाँ बोल
Seismology is the scientific study of earthquakes and the propagation of elastic waves through the earth or through other planet-like bodies. The field also includes the studies of earthquake environmental effects such as tsunamis as well as the diverse seismic sources such as volcanic, tectonic, glacial, fluvial, oceanic, atmospheric and artificial processes such as explosions. A related field that uses the geology to infer information regarding past earthquake is paleoseismology.
Paleoseismology ਤੇ
जी सुनामीस चला सुनामीस बोल
सुनामी अक्कर ज़्यादा हो गई
ये सर
सुनामी
है
सुनामी
तो टी क्यों लाता है इन्होंने
सुनामी paleoseismology volcanic tectonic glacier fluvial oceanic atmosphere glacial fluvial oceanic
atmospheric and artificial processes such as astrologies.
हम रिकॉर्डिंग कर ली फिर अपना यूट्यूब पे हिट पाओगे